I'd like to call to order the reorganization meeting for January 2nd, 2024 at 5:01 p.m. Flag salute, please. The first order of business will be to swear in our new council people, or our newly elected council people. We generally do that out here.
Okay,
All
this
right.
is live.
All right, so someone put these in alpha order for me. So let's start with Kirsten. Come on up. I think this way, and then we can do like her picture too.
Yeah,
afterwards.
okay, after.
That's how we've done it in the past. All right, so Kirsten, would you please repeat after me? I, Kirsten Compatello, do solemnly swear
I, Kirsten Compatello, do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support, defend, and obey the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties as a member of the Crafton Borough Council with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of a member of Crafton Borough Council with fidelity.
Congratulations, you are now a member of council. And we need to get these, you'll sign them and then our secretary will sign them. All right, would you repeat after me? I, Michael Hof, if I've got that right, do solemnly swear
I, Michael Hope, do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties as a member of the Crafton Borough Council with fidelity.
and I will discharge the duties of the Crafton Borough with
Council.
Council with fidelity.
Fidelity. Congratulations,
Thank you.
Michael. All right. I, Pamela Polkownik, do solemnly swear that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
I, Pamela Polkownik, I have to start over on that one.
Okay, do solemnly swear
Do solemnly swear
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support, obey, and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties as a member of the Crafton Borough Council with fidelity.
and that I will discharge the duties of the
Duties as a member of the Crafton Borough Council,
Crafton, as a member of the
Crafton
Crafton
Borough
Borough
Council
Council
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Congratulations.
Now, do we want to get all three of them up?
Yes, we can do that.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. And maybe do it in the middle, so I get the Borough Crafton right behind you there. Yeah. Maybe handing them the. No? Okay.
All at
Come
once?
together?
All together?
Yeah.
All together.
All the newly elected.
Yeah, there you go.
All right.
I'm a little closer like you guys.
All right. Well,
Yeah. Perfect, okay, good.
All right, wait a minute, you got one more. You gotta-
Oh, yeah, of course, of course, of course.
We're here to embarrass.
Oh. There we go. There you go. There you go. All right. Perfect. Great. Thank you, guys.
Because there's no way they're gonna be okay for this whole thing, so, yeah, all right.
All right.
We can go. Yeah, we got what we came for. We'll leave you in peace.
Okay, Miss Bollenbacher,
Here.
Mr. Chandler. Here. Miss Compatello,
Here.
Mr. Hove,
Here.
Mr. Oliverio,
Here.
Miss Pakalnick,
Here.
Mr. Rodilla,
Here.
Mayor Perry,
Here,
Solicitor Corbel,
Here.
and myself. Thank you. We have a quorum.
since we have no one on Zoom or in the audience, we'll pass over public comments and move right on to nominations and elections. So I will make a call for nominations and discussion for President of Council.
I'll nominate John Oliverio for President of Council.
Any other nominations? All right, that's pretty straightforward. Can we have a voice vote? All in favor for John Oliverio as council president?
Aye.
Any opposed? All in favor? And 0 opposed. Well, I'm happy to pass the gavel over to you, John.
Water.
I did.
Okay, see? And you're still alive. We had to make sure because we weren't sure who poured all this water.
I put a, I did it out.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Is that not working?
Hello? Yes, yes, it's working. Okay, yeah, I will.
Oh, yeah.
Lots to do.
Once a year Chinese.
Well, what I can say, I mean, thank you so much. It's been truly an honor to be president. I know 2 years ago, I never expected it, or when I was appointed back in March of 2021 with Colton. And it is a lot of work, but I do love it. I mean, I just really love doing it because I don't know why, maybe it's something wrong, but your support means a lot and it might be something wrong. But your support really means a lot and thank you. I really appreciate it. And I can't say enough about this council and just all that you guys do is huge. And I so much love working with all of you and look forward to it for the next 2 years. And welcome to Mike. All right. Our next order of business is the Vice President of Council. So again, this would be a call for nominations and any discussion.
I move to nominate Kirsten.
Compatello. Any other nominations? Any discussion? Okay. Are
Do you want to, because this is the first time we've done a reorg with two members here. Do we want to go over what these positions are?
Yes, yeah, great. So the president, of course, is the president, leads the council. I think everybody knows what the president does, responsible for the agenda and a lot of that other stuff, I guess. The vice president is kind of that second in charge, and they also will take over for the meetings and also any of the matters when the president's unable to, whether he can't attend or just has an issue where they have to be out of the country or has a fiscal issue where they can't be a part of it. Then the president pro temp, which we're not required to have, but is an option, is the third person. So if the president and vice president aren't there, then this person would step in and take over. This did have, well, the vice president had to step in at one point this past year. And that's what the three positions basically do. I don't know if I missed anything.
I would probably add one thing, which is generally speaking, the president too is the person that is in touch with the administration. So you're
Right.
really the
It's-
point person for the
Mhm.
administration. It makes it easier to have
Right.
one person as
Mhm.
point, but it's not that they can't, that all council members can't and shouldn't talk to the staff, but it's direction should come from one person.
And the other one is the vacancy board chair, which is a really interesting one. This is not the position that Colton has as the vacancy board leader, committee chair. This is if we would have a resignation from the board or from the council during any term. So it would be if somebody had to move or wasn't able to fulfill their duties. We have a very formatted process that we go through for that. We have 30 days to accept the resignation, then 45 days to fill it. And if we need a majority of council to elect that new person or appoint that person to it. And we do a whole interview process that's open to the public to be able to appoint that person. And that's how Pam got here for her prior term. With that, if we are unable to come to a decision, that vacancy board chair then has the ability to appoint somebody. So if council cannot come to a decision, there would likely be 6 of us for that. Then it would go to the mayor, correct? For the decision.
The mayor would have an option at a tie vote to cast it or not. And then the vacancy board chair would convene a meeting of the vacancy board, which is the vacancy board chair and all the remaining members of council. And there would be another vote that at that point with 7 votes, arguably it could break a tie. And then if that group, the vacancy board group, is not able to make a decision, it goes to court downtown.
It's a really, it's a very interesting process and an important role. Any questions on any of those? Okay, we have a motion on the floor and we'll do a vote for Ms. Compitello for vice president. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Ms. Compitello? Congratulations. Yeah. Congratulations, Kirsten. President Pro Temp. So call for nominations and discussion for President Pro Temp.
I nominate Vince Riddell.
Vince Riddell, Mr. Vidilla. Any other nominations? Or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Mr. Adilla, great, congratulations. Vacancy Board Chair, call for nominations and discussion for the Vacancy Board Chair role.
Who's the current one?
Susan O'Connell is the current one. Do you want to give a little history of Susan?
Susan O'Connell has served on council in the past, and she's also been mayor. She's been involved with a number of other things, and I do know that she is willing to serve again.
So any nominations?
I nominate Susan O'Connell.
Okay, very good. Any other nominations? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Ms. O'Connell is the vacancy board chair. All right, next is the meeting schedule. So this we have to designate. So that's why there hasn't been announcements of when our meetings are. So we actually determine this every 2 years. And right now, we meet here in council chambers on the second and fourth second and fourth Thursdays of every month, convening at 7:15. And that's been in place for the past 2 years. So any discussion, thoughts, comments on that at all?
I wouldn't mind a little earlier if at all
Yeah.
possible.
I agree.
I would have a hard time with earlier,
Okay, so what about like
unless we did a
7?
different day. 7, sure.
Yeah. 7:15 just never made, I don't know why.
It was, what we changed was the day, and it's just been 7:15 for all the years I've been on council. It's
Okay.
totally arbitrary.
So is everybody okay with earlier and or 7 or earlier?
7's fine. I'd be fine with earlier too if we wanted to talk about a different day. Thursday is probably the day I would have most issues with an earlier time. But not huge issues either. I just, I
I'm
do
open
like
to
trying to be
others.
here.
I'm open to other days.
So the one thing that we do have to consider is availability of
Yeah.
a solicitor if we're going to appoint him again.
I mean, these days work best for me if we're sticking with the second and the fourth. Council used to meet on Monday. And I am open still. I am open on the first and third Monday. If you're looking, because I think at one point we were first and third Monday. So I can do that if that's something you're interested in. And I'm fine with whatever time y'all choose.
The agenda
Pick the
is
day.
the harder part because the agenda, the checks, the bill list, all of those things. So right now we have, the agenda comes on Fridays and then we review it over the weekend and have it published by Tuesday. If it were Monday, we would be like a whole week
Yep.
ahead of that. And then we'd have to have all the checks. So Mondays, that's why they were always so difficult. We could never have the agenda. They had to be posted. So Jim would have to really post it Sunday night, which I don't want Jim. Yeah, and that just, that makes it kind of tough.
And really, especially with the changes that have been made to the Sunshine Act about not being able to change the agenda.
Yep. Yeah, if we had it Friday and something happened. If everybody's good with those days and then moving the time, does that work? So what is agreeable is 7?
7 on Thursdays, fine. I don't know if other people had other thoughts on days or times or how early we wanted to do it. 7 at Thursday is fine. If we went earlier, I would have occasional conflicts.
I think if we look at the public too, if they have work that they're coming from, we want to make sure that the public has enough time to also be here, so.
Yeah, I don't have a strong feeling one way or the other what day of the week I literally just walk down the hill. But I mean, earlier would be lovely if it could be earlier. So if we can gain 15 minutes, that's great. If Monday doesn't seem like it'd be the best bet, I can continue to make Thursdays work. But just to contribute to the conversation, I don't have a strong preference. Earlier in the week would be great just for work. Travel tends to be later in the week versus like a Monday or a Tuesday. So, but saying that, 7 o'clock on Thursdays is fine.
So we would need a motion, reading all of that out.
All right, I make a motion for meetings every second and fourth Thursday. No, first and third, second and fourth. Second and fourth. Every second and fourth Thursday of the month at 7 p.m.
Second.
Mr. Radilla, any discussion? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Okay, now, the next section are the appointments, and this was always interesting to me, which is we appoint all of these positions, so we have to have motions and then votes and abstentions or whatever for each of these every 2 years. So that's everything from our solicitor to the treasurer to the fire chief. So we'll just go through. All of these that are listed here are purely recommendations. They can be changed. It's up to council, whatever you'd want. A lot of these are the ones that are currently in place and or some people that have maybe changed out. So the first one is our borough solicitor. So it's not Steve, it's the company, but Babscow.
Are we making a motion or are we
Yeah,
seconding?
yeah, there would be, need to be a motion then a
Okay,
second.
then I move to appoint Beth Callan as Borough Solicitor.
Second.
All right, any discussion? And you're able to do those meetings, Steve, or somebody?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Great, motion passes. Okay, next is the borough engineer, and just to be clear for this, we do have a borough engineer, who's Larry Keenan. This would be our appointed borough engineering company.
So it's a consulting company that handles things that we can't do in-house. Our staff engineer, who just started in late fall, is a new position that will be handling things as a staff member for Crafton Borough. But Gateway Engineers has been our engineering consultant for, I believe, about 60 years or over 60
Yes.
years.
Yeah, we were their first municipal customer.
They handle a lot of the work that we don't have the capacity or the expertise to do in-house. And they
just
would,
to-
that's what this would be.
Yeah, and to make one clarification, they would be the borough engineer of record. And it does allow some liability to be deferred to them as opposed to us, which is one of the reasons that decision was made as opposed to making. And Larry is not officially an engineer yet. That's
A
another
PE,
reason.
a
He's not
PE,
officially
a
a PE yet.
He can't
so-
sign drawings yet.
Right.
So he will be able to.
I'll make a motion to appoint Gateway Engineers as the borough engineer.
Second.
Okay, Mr. Hoff, Hof, sorry. I'll get it. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Next is our borough manager. So what this is borough manager has a contract. The only staff position that really has a contract besides the unions, which are the police and public works. So we, every 2 years, have to appoint the borough manager and redo a contract. So this would be to appoint somebody as the borough manager. And the contract would be hopefully discussed during executive session tonight.
I make a motion.
Make a motion to appoint Jim Price as the borough manager.
All right.
Second.
Right. Second is Ms. Bolenbacher. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Congratulations, Jim. Next is our bank. So this is our official depository bank, otherwise you'd be leaving here today. For all borough accounts. And this is relatively new. We did have PNC Bank 2 years ago and transitioning over to Huntington. And we've made that full transition, consolidated a lot of accounts and closed out a lot of accounts, thanks to Jim and the finance committee.
Just a clarification, didn't we appoint Huntington Bank 2 years ago? Did that
Yes.
transition begin prior to that? Because I recall at our last reorg, it was already Huntington.
It was both. It was PNC and Huntington. So we had certain accounts with them, and then we had certain accounts with PNC, and we were right in the middle of the transition.
I'll make a motion to appoint Huntington Bank as the official depository bank for all borough accounts.
Okay.
Second.
Mr. Rodilla. Okay. Any discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Wait, we do have to appoint an official paper. There aren't many choices here. The Gazette 2.0 closed down. I think we have the options of the Trib and the Post Gazette.
It's the Post Gazette because the Trib does not publish a hard copy.
Okay.
It has to be, in general circulation is the legal term. That means you can go to the newsstand or and buy the paper in the community. So
Okay.
we basically have no choice.
Mhm.
Does the Post Gazette meet the bar currently with
They-
the
they do.
issues?
They do.
They are printing a paper. Yeah. Mhm.
What's their print schedule? Is it once a week?
Two, I think, like there's a
Thursday.
Thursday, Sunday. So we are usually in the Thursday if we can do
Thursday's
that.
much cheaper.
Yes.
All right, I move to appoint the Post Gazette as the official paper.
Mr. Rodillo,
Second.
and Mr. Chandler, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is appointing a fire department for Crafton. So right now, and for many years, we've had our own fire department, and this would be appointing them as our fire department.
I move to appoint the Crafton Volunteer Fire Department as Borough Fire Department.
Mr. Rodillo, Ms. Bolenbacher seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Next is the fire chief. The recommendation is Mike Crown as the fire chief. He's been the fire chief for many years. And also former council member.
I'll make a motion to appoint Mike Crown as fire chief for the Borough of Crafton.
Ms. Compitello,
Second.
Mr. Chandler, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the Emergency Management Coordinator. Ms. Perry, do you want to say anything around that? In that role?
For quite a few years, it has been our police chief. And the important thing about the emergency coordinator is someone that is both trained and dependable. And when we look at all of the requirements in our borough, it really does fall to the police chief as being the most qualified person.
Is there anyone else interested? Just thinking about the amount of duties on him up in the upcoming year? Or is this something that he can easily handle?
Yeah, I mean, there's no problems with him handling it, and I would expect that as we hire a new chief, that would be either a duty that they would take on or make sure that another member of the department is trained on.
I move to appoint Mark Sumter, Emergency Management Coordinator.
Second.
Mr. Rodillo, Ms. Compitello, any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the Borough Fire Marshal and also the Assistant Borough Fire Marshal. Jim, do you want to talk anything about what those duties are?
Sure. I actually am not that familiar with the details of that position, other than DJ has been the fire marshal for since he was hired. And he does fire inspections, and he's on a volunteer fire department, so he's well qualified for the position. And Dave Morgan, prior to that, has been the fire marshal himself. But now is taking, over the last few years, has taken a back seat, but he has been with the volunteer fire department for, I don't know how many years, decades, maybe.
He had previously been involved with building inspections, I think,
Oh, okay,
beforehand
okay,
here.
okay.
And between here and Ingram.
Yep.
In past years.
So,
I'll make a motion to appoint DJ Glancy as the Borough Fire Marshal and Dave Morgan as the Assistant Borough Fire Marshal.
Second.
Mr. Chandler seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 1 nay, 6-0. Motion passes. And next is the Borough Treasurer. Can you speak to that role?
sure, they are someone who comes in and audits in fact, they sign every check. And every time there's a bill list, they come in just before the meeting and go through all the checks themselves and review them. And so it's just another stopgap to make sure that we're not doing anything untoward. They are paid a annual stipend, and I'm not sure how long she has served, but she's very professional. She's a CPA. So it's been a good relationship as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, she has been the borough treasurer since before I was on council, so more than 8 years at this point.
Make a motion to appoint Annette, what is it, Lairbeer?
Lairbeer. Lairbeer.
Lairbeer, thank you, as the Borough Treasurer.
Ms.
Second.
Bolenbacher, Ms. Compitello seconds. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Next is the Borough Secretary.
Sure. So the borough secretary is in some communities actually serves as has a manager's role essentially, but they have a little less power than a manager would necessarily have. But she is a signer. Carissima already is a signer on checks, and she really makes sure that all of the things that need to be done on a timely basis are done when they need to be done. And she's been very effective at that. And I highly recommend that we appoint her again as the borough secretary.
They also take the meeting minutes. So watching the tapes and then taking the meeting minutes and responsibility as witnesses and signator on all of legal documents for us.
I'll make a motion to appoint Carissa Kearns as Borough Secretary.
Second.
We'll give it to Mr. Hope this time. Okay. Ms. Comptello. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? And Chrisma does a great job all around in that role and including her day job. Next is our borough auditor. We did just have our audit. I think we approved it a couple months ago, and this is Meyer Dussel. Okay. As our borough auditor.
And that is also a company, right? Not
Yes,
an individual.
yeah,
That is the company that we use.
Yeah.
Make the motion to appoint Meyer Dussel as the Borough Auditor.
Second.
Ms. Bolenbacher, second is Ms. Comptello. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? And the other thing is we are able to change these, correct, as long as we make motions.
Yes.
And we go through it. All right. Next is new business. Mr. Korb.
Yes, council will hold an executive session following tonight's meeting to discuss personnel matters. I will be departing momentarily, and if you need me, call me. I have a meeting at 6 o'clock in Aspinwall, so, and it's a 21-minute drive according to Waze. So I'm looking. I have
He's telling us
just
to
a
wrap
couple-
up.
It's fit in his jacket. Okay. See, we appointed him and he's gone. Next is the bill list. So it was a short bill list, and this was from December 31st of 2023. This was on the OneDrive for everybody to view. It had mainly utilities bills and refunds for our community center on that. So looking for a motion to ratify the bill list dated December 31st, 2023.
So moved.
Ms. Comptello,
Second.
Mr. Chandler, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion passes. Bill list is ratified. Real estate taxes and road tax refunds, we did not have any. So this motion, we are just Xing this off of the agenda. Great. Sewer, deduct meter refunds. So. I just
realized I didn't have the number in front of me. Let me grab that.
Oh, the sixth step. But what I'd like to do for this one is, it's something that's interesting. We have a little description on here. We wanted to have Mr. Price kind of explain what it was and then why we're approving these refunds.
Hold on as I pull up the number. Okay, here we go. So deduct meters are a way that Alcosan allows people who use a lot of water outdoors that is not going into the system as a way to deduct some of their fees. The way that we calculate water or sewer uses fees is how much water they're getting in. So you take the water reading and assume that there's an equal portion going out of that same house. Now, if you water your lawn or if you do something else, you're not putting that water back into the sewer system, so Alcosan shouldn't be charging you for it. So you can get a deduct meter to it'll actually calculate the flow and won't calculate what you're using on outdoor faucets. Another good example is if you have to fill a swimming pool. It can save you a good amount of money if you have to fill a swimming pool every year to use a deduct meter. Currently this year's deduct meters accounted for $6,241.08. So that's what we're refunding to those few participants who use it.
And there's about 7 people, including a company, I believe, on there, an organization, and they were all on the OneDrive too, with their amounts on it. If somebody was interested in getting a deduct meter, would they just contact Alcosan?
No, actually we do it. And we save people money that way. You do have to pay for the meter to be put on itself. I think it's around $100. But there's no other fees.
Okay. So we need a motion to ratify the approval of the 2023 sewer deduct meter refunds for $6,241.08.
So moved.
Mr.
Second.
Miller, Ms. Compitello, any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes. I think for something like this, we should add it to the newsletter. You know, I think that it was kind of a surprise to some council members here, and whether you have a pool or anything else, or maybe water your lawn a lot, it might be informative to have for the newsletter, so that residents can be aware of it. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Corbel. Oh, is this your bottle? Yeah. Okay. Next is our Crafton logo discussion. So, Mr. Price, and if Ms. Bollenbacher wants to talk at all about the logo.
Sure. I reached out to a designer that Mayor Perry knew. His name's John Sodorakis, and he is one of the co-owners of the Crafton School of the Arts here in Crafton. And he has designed logos for dozens of organizations and companies, probably hundreds actually. I have dozens of examples that were put on the OneDrive. And I know a few of you have seen them, but I don't think we all have. Has everybody had a chance to look at them? Because I can bring them up if you have not. Okay, no, you haven't. Okay, yeah, let me bring that up on the screen right quick and we'll take a look at them. And then and then the proposal was there as well. The proposal is, I forget the exact, it's $65. The proposal is for $65 an hour. And it came to just shy of $5,000 total for the work. And that's the proposal for this design. But let me show you the examples and then you can discuss. Hold on.
Here's.
Portfolio was very large, so I had to send links. But these are probably all recognizable ones that many of you have seen. That they design. He also teaches at
Yeah, so any questions, comments, thoughts? This would be a $5,000, close to $5,000 expense. And this, as the proposal reads, this is just for the formulation of the logo and all of the graphics, but not the branding, not the distribution. Yeah, nothing else. It would just be, here's the logos.
What would we be able to then do with it? Would we have like files that we could use, or would we need continued development to turn them into usable formats? Like, is
No.
this a concept or is this a finished,
No, this would be a
PNG or
finished- This would be
EPS?
a finished logo, and I could work with them to see if we can get a little more of a discount and work in some branding, more of the additional stuff, like the typeset stuff and some of the additional things that you want for a brand book. I don't think it would be a formal brand book, but it would be like a brand book light possibly, where it would help us, when we're coming up with documents and things like that. I can reach back out to them and see if we can work and negotiate that, but I have not discussed that with them. That was something that Pam brought up as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we're doing the work, we should have that consistent font. I mean, that was the whole intention behind this, is to have a brand for ourselves. So if we can get those recommendations on fonts or colors, like just we have one place where it lives. So when we have events or functions, it shouldn't be a surprise what we're using font or style, just for consistency.
And Mike, I know you're, as someone who does digital work, and I'm curious what your thoughts on that price and this, and the logos that you've seen and things like that.
The biggest thing in the proposal I saw was it didn't have any kind of fee schedule or option to terminate. Sometimes you just reach a point where you're just not on the same page and you're not making any headway. It's always good to have an out for both parties. I think that should be something that should be in there for us and for them. So basically, because I noticed it was broken into phases. So if we reach phase 3 and we're just up against a brick wall, and it just seems like the drafts that they're giving us just aren't what we're asking for, we should be able to terminate, and it should be outlined what we're responsible for in fees up until that point. It is pretty nicely broken out, but there should be an option. So.
One of the things I noticed in the proposal, there were a lot of hours, and like 60 hours to do something. It seems like be that long to do some of these things.
That seemed legit to me. We've gone through this. These take time to get something that's right. And he's coming up with 3 options for us to then share with the community and disseminate. So
It does seem like an accurate number. And also he's building in contingency for revisions. And
Right.
I do the same in my business. I just anticipate that there's going to be more revisions than I would probably guarantee, just because I don't want to have to go back and ask later. So.
Yeah, I would concur with that. That's the way I estimate projects as well.
So I think where we are with this is that we probably aren't, unless somebody wants to make a motion, we have 2 go backs, which are the option terminate and also the branding piece to add into the proposal. And our next meeting is next Thursday, so just a week from now, and we have that ability to approve.
I will also say I'm good with the like the amount of work that is described in this. I think the ability to go back and talk to them about some support beyond that is a good one. But I would also be good with proceeding as is with this and then, having that conversation. But if we don't have to vote for this tonight, we can go back and talk to them about kind of wrapping that all in. I don't know if I would want a lengthier contract. But I think, having something like this with a discussion that has already been held about what their ability or interest would be in taking it to like an option step 2 would be useful.
I also didn't see in the proposal if it had any type of ownership language. Sometimes logos are trademarked later on and an artist would retain part of that trademark copyright, so it should be a full buyout.
It does. I mean, I would like to incorporate the language from people who work in this on a regular basis. But it does say in here, all rights for final identity belong to the borough with provision that CSA may use the final logo for portfolio purposes.
That's good. Thank you. I missed that.
Any additional discussion? Okay, so we have the option if somebody wants to make a motion to approve it as is. The other option is we don't do any motion and we can put this on the agenda for our next Thursday meeting.
I think we can put it on the agenda for next week with the, continued conversation about their ability to offer follow-up, but I think more specifically some added language about contingencies or changes.
Anybody want to make a motion for it currently as it is? Okay. We will hold to next week. So public comment, we don't have any citizens here with us or residents, sorry, with us. Do we have anybody on the line? I think you have to stop sharing, because we're sharing right now. Oh, wait. Oh, it's the chief? Okay. So, Mr. Sumner, if you would like to participate, you can raise your hand. Okay. So the only additional item is that we have our next meeting is next Thursday, January 11th at 7:00 p.m. We have a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, Ms. Contello. Okay. Yeah, we can just adjourn with the motion. Anything additional? Okay. Thank you. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
No, my, one of my